everybody, welcome to another episode of Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet that has the TARDIS locked in our basement. I'm your host, Chad.
I'm your host, Rob. And like always, you can check out our Facebook page.
Yep.
You could like that. I always forget what I'm going to say. Or you can also check out our website, www.epicgeekout.com.
Also, check us out over at Twitter, at Epic Geek Out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then you'll get the updates of when we put out new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.
And I guess I should have said, what we're doing today is reviewing Copper, which is BBC America's first original show. So let's get into that review.
Cool. So today we're back with some television that we just saw a premiere episode of Copper, which stars Tom Weston-Jones. It's BBC America's first original show. They usually just show repeats of UK shows, but they're back, or they created this original show, basically set in the 1860s in New York, kind of post-Civil War era. Kind of follows the storyline of a cop and I guess a couple more cops. I think there's a group of them.
Kind of a team. There's
yeah,
like three
but
of
there's
them.
the main guy, Cochran or whatever his name is, and he's a copper. He's a police officer, detective in New York City, kind of in this slummy.
Really like saying that.
Yeah.
In 5 Points.
Five Points, like slummy areas.
New York, right?
Yeah, it's like the slums. There's lots of prostitution, crime, stuff like that, homicides, which is the first episode. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's going to be a little bit procedural, so like a different case each week, but then there's this overarching story of his, I think, wife and daughter getting murdered somehow. And
also some people who we met got involved in the first case too, which I think is going to have its its span throughout the whole season, which is very British television. It reminds me a lot of Luther, how they'll another BBC show where they would have one thing and then other things mixed in. So
one of the writers, producers did Oz, so another from that kind of vein. So sort of Western-ish too. It reminded me of like a Western, like the way they're dressed and like the music.
The saloons
and he's an Irish immigrant. I think that's pretty much all the plot that you need to know. What did you think? Okay,
so let me first say, because I'm going to probably bash this and seem harsh, I'm going to continue watching. I think British television it's very different than American television. It's 10 episodes, I believe the whole season is, and you got to give them a couple episodes. So I'm going to give this show the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to put the number at 3. I'm at least going to watch 3 episodes. I mean, it's great. It's on demand again with Xfinity, Comcast still or BBC. We can still fast forward through commercials, so it's easy. It's easy to get through. So I'm definitely going to give it a chance. Let me go over the stuff that I really enjoyed. The acting's decent. I could take it or leave it. It's nothing great. No one really stood out. It's very graphic, which I was surprised that they went into some of the things that they did on the show. The violence, guy's eye gets blown out through the back of his head. Things like that. I thought it was, from just the previews of the show, it's like, you're the last honorable man in town. I thought it was going to be the violence surrounded him, but he kind of didn't partake in the violence. I mean, he's honorable in what he wants to get done.
Right.
But as we see in this episode, he's willing to torture someone to get it done, which it takes away from that character. I thought it would have been better to have him be this, shining person of the beacon of light in this horrible town.
And he uses like his wits to kind of figure out the case.
Maybe like a Sherlock Holmes-ish kind of thing.
Because he does have the African-American,
Well, that's what I want to talk about next. This show took liberties, and it has a CSI element to it, which is stupid. I 100% wish that they did not have that in the show at all. I'm sorry, but our crime labs don't work as good today as they did in this show. That completely took it. That brought me out of the episode. And when I saw an interview that they were doing that beforehand, and I'm like, oh, I'm worried about that. And I was rightfully worried about that, because I think that is a dumb addition to a period show. Why have that? Like, come on. Come on. And then just how he found stuff out. Everything had to fit into place perfectly for it to work out, and that just annoyed the hell out of me. And I hope they go away from it a bit, because I want the show like he kind of did blame a guy and he was wrong. I want the show to make mistakes because that's kind of what it was back then. I mean, police work isn't 100% nowadays, let alone back in the 1800s. But that element of the show I thought was horrific, and I thought there was no point of having it. Have a good show about coppers back then. You got to say copper because it's just fun. And, have the violence with it and things like that. And the one little twist I enjoyed in it, but that I think could literally ruin the show for me.
Yeah, was he wrong though? I don't think he was. I think he was right, but they covered it up kind of. That's what I took from that.
Well, no, he was definitely right in his final thing.
Yeah.
But he thought...
the fact that he got the one guy and tortured.
Yeah, but he thought it was the one guy beforehand and was wrong with that.
Don't want to spoil anything. I probably won't watch more of this. I didn't hate the show. I didn't hate it as much as you did, but I still don't think I'll watch more of it because it just wasn't my thing.
I really hated that one element of it. Yeah. I kind of liked the rest of it, and there were some like, oh, wow, moments, but that really took me out of it.
Just really wasn't my thing. I don't know. I like some period things, but as a whole, I'm not really it's not something that I enjoy sitting through a lot of the time. If I had to be in the right mood, I guess, because it's long. There's lulls in it. Much like Boardwalk Empire, which the concept is awesome, but I can't get into watching it over and over again every week. So that part of it, I probably won't watch it. I think it was well made, well produced, looked awesome. I liked the score a lot. The music in it was great. Hated the lead actor. Like I absolutely hated him. He had such a baby face. I'm like, this is supposed to be a cop. Like, I don't know. This is weird. It just, I didn't buy him for a second in that role.
I think he looks too much like his partner too.
Yeah.
In some of the dark lit scenes, you couldn't tell who was who, which I kind of threw me off as well.
And from a distance, I thought he looked like Taylor Kitsch, which really annoyed me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's John Carter. He's back to annoy me. But I mean, the story with the case, I guess, this week wasn't particularly interesting. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't really pick up on the fact that what you're saying is 100% right about the CSI element, but it's not something that I was like sitting there going, "This is stupid." But now that you say it, I'm like, "Well, that is kind of stupid when you think about it. How stupid that was, And I don't know really
ripped off moments of Dexter. Where he was figuring it out. I'm like, oh, I've seen this all before in Dexter, and it was modern times, so it made sense. It doesn't make any sense back then.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And I don't really know what the show was trying to be. I think it
also,
sort of had like.
Can I say one other thing? Yeah. Even the actor who plays him, he's like, yeah, I didn't know there were black doctors back then, so that was pretty cool to play a black doctor, let alone this kind. And I was like. Yeah, that makes sense too. Thanks for pointing that out in the interview because that also took me out of it as well.
Right. I think the show kind of had a little bit of an identity crisis for me. I wasn't quite sure what it was trying to be. Like what you were saying, was it trying to be this cop procedural? Was it trying to be a period piece? What I didn't really see what the hook was, I guess. And I know that they were marketing it as like the honorable guy, the last guy in town, but I agree. I didn't really notice anything he did that was that honorable, besides the fact that he didn't want to rape children, which, hey, shouldn't be doing that anyway, That was pretty much the only thing
Here's an egg.
Yeah. And he pretty much was just like, no. Yeah, I mean, that's all he did. He didn't, try to save her life. I mean, I guess down the road, but he still let her be a prostitute, at the end. So, I mean, whatever.
He didn't.
No, he told them that he was going to go to the convent, but she wasn't really there. Because that's when he told the Cortessa.
Yeah, but she wasn't she was living with him, but she wasn't a prostitute.
But she was still in the whorehouse with the Contessas at the end.
Yeah, but there was a different one.
Yeah, well, we don't want to spoil or anything.
He didn't put her into prostitution.
Well, no, he let her just keep kind of living.
He lived with the nice prostitutes.
Yeah.
They were nice ones.
So overall, I mean, it was well made. It's on demand, so give it a chance. I wasn't having.
I can totally see why it's not your show. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and I do like some of the period things sometimes, but
yeah, I mean it certainly, I think it tried to go for the oh crap they're going there moments, and I felt like that they didn't earn those, and it was kind of morally reprehensible at times, but I guess this stuff kind of
I think if they had a stronger lead character, like if it was something more like Justified, where it was like that style. But back in the 1860s, like the guys, like,
and I think that would have been and I think that would have been perfect. And
like if you're like this guy's so badass, but like he's still moral and blah,
I think
that would have been great,
and lose the CSI element, because that honestly ruins the show.
So I mean,
check out Copper on BBC America.
So that's it for another episode of Epic Geek Out. Now's the part of the show where we like to geek out and give our thanks for awesome things. Rob, what's on your mind?
So we just found out today, the day we're filming this, that we got our VIP tickets for this show called Lead Up that Kevin Pereira is doing, a former host of Attack the Show. Yep. We don't know who else is involved, but in the LA show they had some great people there. Kevin Smith was there, Alex Albrecht, Felicia Day, a bunch of nerdy people, and it's apparently just this like nerd gathering and where they'll do like a podcast up on stage. There's music, comedians, things like that, and it honestly just sounds like one of the coolest things I've ever heard of.
Apparently they have like a show floor too with like a video game.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different areas
really
set
cool.
up where there's just different things, and it's just like awesome. It sounds great. So Grinspan, thank you. Watch this. You're great. For getting us those tickets. I'm really excited. We'll be there for the Philadelphia. I believe it's October 5th.
Yes, right around
at the Electric Factory. So if you guys are watching in the area, I'd recommend getting your tickets early because I think they've been selling out. I think general admission's only around $25. So definitely check that out. Come and say hi to us. I'm really pumped for that, and I think we're going to be talking more about that in the future. Maybe doing a
on location
taping like we did for the Philadelphia Comic-Con. So I'm really pumped about that. So
we get a gift basket too.
I love gift baskets.
Which we still
They're great.
get our one from Geek Nation or whatever.
I know they kind of screwed us.
Anyways, my thanks today. I'm going to thank, sort of in the vein of what we were talking about, BBC. I think it's a great channel. British television, if you weren't aware, is government subsidized.
All on Netflix.
Right, also on Netflix. But they, like Rob says, they kind of have smaller seasons, but they do, I think, quality seasons. And even if you don't like Copper wasn't my thing, I still think the production quality of it was outstanding. I thought it was, it's a well-made show all around. There's not any like kind of cheapy, things that they throw out crap, Doctor Who's on, which we're both watching.
I'm addicted.
Downton Abbey, which you've seen all
Downton
of,
Abbey's
which you like.
Fantastic. I love the show.
I'm almost done the first season, I think.
Luther, Sherlock,
yes.
Fantastic shows. Jekyll was an old show. It's on Netflix.
I just watched the first 2 episodes of their Titanic miniseries by the same guy who did Downton Abbey. Very interesting concept, which I'll tell you afterwards. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. So really cool. Like Rob said, all on Netflix. So check out some BBC shows.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they're really quality programming and
they got the Chris Hardwick stuff on there.
Yeah, but that's BBC America.
Right. BBC America.
Yeah, so. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. I don't want to sound insensitive to the Brits, but so that's it for this episode of Epic Geek Out, but we'll be back next week with even more. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.